Graphics have always been a big part of video games. We're always looking for the best looking new stuff. And, well, there's some wild crap being made, let me tell you what. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, 10 upcoming games with insane graphics. Starting off with number 10, it is a game called Black Slate. It's a third-person stealth action game about portals that transport you instantly to a new location every time you pass through a door. It's all done seamlessly, so you better believe it's going to need a solid-state drive to function. It's essentially pulling the same trick, Ratchet and Clank. You can tell I was thinking about Ratchet and Clank. I said click, clank. It's doing what Rift Apart did. You know, with the dimension jumping? This game is just a lot more realistic looking. It's one of those games where the trailer really does all the work, because when you actually describe the portal doors, it doesn't sound impressive or interesting, so you go through them and they take you somewhere else. Whoopee. There doesn't really seem to be any actual mechanics tied to it. It's just an excuse for why you jump around between different environments. But the locations that they've shown are really impressive, and the human models maybe aren't quite as up to it. A little goofier looking. Getting people right is one of the hardest things to do for games. Usually in massive studios with tons of money to burn or very talented animators on staff can really pull it off. I mean, just look at Beardy here in the reveal trailer. He ain't convincing. The rest of the game looks far more impressive, and the dimension hopping gimmick that they're using it's visually striking, if nothing else. It's more of an open question whether it will be any good. They revealed some actual gameplay footage, including a pretty goofy looking boss fight, and I'm not sure it looks that great, but we're also talking about pre-alpha stuff, so in all seriousness, by the end of development, the people could look good, the boss fights could not be weird. So we've actually been getting some comments lately that people aren't being sent all of our videos when we release them, and a pretty easy way to definitely get more is enabling the notification bell. It fixes that, it helps us out a ton, and we hope it helps you see some stuff you want to see. Thanks a lot for enabling notifications. Let's get back to the video. Moving on to number 9, it's Fatekeeper, an upcoming action RPG that contains some seriously lush and highly detailed areas to explore and a lot of carefully crafted creatures to beat up on if the trailer is anything to go by. This is a game that isn't promising the world. It's not trying to do everything at once. From what I can tell, it's just going to be a linear narrative action game with some exploration to it, but nowhere do they say like open world. They do not hint at it in descriptions, and in this case, I think that's a really good thing. I think it's exactly what developers need to be doing. In fact, they need to limit their scope to what they do well and focus on making a unique and fun game. And that seems to be what they're doing here. Focus on the fun parts, make it look fantastical and sometimes nearly photorealistic, and that's a big selling point. The trailer does a very good job of highlighting that that's exactly what they're doing. And number 8 is Tides of Annihilation. This is a way more bombastic and over-the-top thing going than Fatekeeper, but the trailers and gameplay do suggest a game that is still able to pull off some incredible visuals that are even able to maintain a consistent frame rate on consoles. The level of detail for not just the characters, but the crumbling ruins of London are really impressive. The art design for the locations you explore shows through in the gameplay trailer, and it tells us we won't be wandering around boring, visually uninteresting gray ruins. It's an eye-catching apocalypse with splashes of color everywhere, with strange, twisted environmental design that's far more ambitious than normally necessary for a game like this. The original reveal trailer actually looked too good to be true, but the gameplay trailer is pretty similar in terms of quality and doesn't really seem to be hiding anything. The game's definitely showing off some serious potential. I think that's the best way to put it. It's one to watch out for. And number 7 is Saros, House Marquee's spiritual successor to Returnal. Pretty clearly a continuation of the visual design from that game, but it's already looking like it's poised to surpass it in every way. Not like Returnal doesn't look great, it does. Still, but from a visual perspective, this looks amazing. It looks like a step up from even that. This studio's particle game has always been great, but this really leans into it with the flashy effects. The characters look better than in Returnal, the environments look more detailed, the lighting is especially impressive here. In terms of gameplay, it looks like more Returnal, and that is not a bad thing. The contrast between the extremely realistic characters and the very arcadey gameplay, it's a little jarring, but they know how to make it work. The real star of the show is the bizarre alien architecture, and we're gonna get plenty of that if this gameplay reveal trailer is anything to go by. And number 6 is Forza Horizon 6. A series that's not quite as obsessed with recreating reality as the other franchises, but they still manage to create worlds that push the capabilities of the hardware that it's on. Horizon 6 appears to be no different, with incredibly accurate car models and some of the best open world tech out there. These guys put so much work into creating open worlds that feel authentic, even though they're also video game levels designed as an amusement park that's always there to give you something new to do. It's a fine balance that so far they've managed to stick the landing on pretty much every time, combining cutting-edge photogrammetry with obsessive research, and man, they've made some really realistic looking open worlds. Looks like the new game's going to be their latest and greatest achievement too. It's a shame that these games aren't able to pull off anything truly next-gen impressive, but like making hyper-realistic damage models for cars, but we know that the nature of car license agreements essentially assures that will never happen, which is very stupid. Car manufacturers don't want to see their cars in a wreck, even though that is just straight up not something that deters me from thinking a car is cool. If anything, I think it makes cars more cool. But you know, whatever. At least they're still trying to make things realistic within those confines. For example, they're making it so car tires actually appear to get more worn down the longer you drive them. It's that sort of obsessive attention to detail, when allowed, that makes the Forza Horizon game some of the best looking racing games on the market. And number 5 is Supreme Experiment. Whenever this comes out, and whatever it ends up being, it looks absolutely nuts. Even if it's just a digital art gallery that you're essentially just walking through, the graphics are mind-blowing enough that it would not matter. Right now, it is impossible to say what Supreme Experiment is, because from the description, it's everything and it's nothing. Maybe it's an immersive sim, maybe it's an atmospheric walking simulator, maybe it's a thriller, a choose-your-own adventure. Whatever, it's a hodgepodge that suggests maybe the developers aren't quite sure what it is either. They do have some really talented artists and intriguing ideas, but a lot of cool visuals doesn't necessarily make a good game. Does make a good trailer though, despite your opinions on whatever the actual game is or what it turns out to be. For a 2-minute trailer, they sure showed off a lot. Might be a whole lot of nonsense, but it's some graphically impressive nonsense. And number 4 is Ill. Resident Evil Requiem is a good-looking survival horror game, without a doubt. Looks pretty amazing even, but it's nothing we haven't come to expect from Capcom. This is a list for insane graphics games, and if any survival horror game looks insane, in the membrane, in Spain, it's got to be Ill. The graphics here are just extremely impressive, but it's the monsters that really have an attention to detail in the worst possible way. They're so grotesque, it's enough to make you actually feel like the game's title, Ill. This game looks absolutely disgusting in the best way. Honestly, it's so gross, I'm not sure we can show a lot of this on YouTube, but the design of the locations you explore are also highly detailed and extremely impressive for a self-published game. And number 3 is Phantom Blade Zero. We've been talking about the gameplay of this upcoming action game in other videos, but one thing that hasn't been discussed quite as extensively are the graphics. The game looks like a real powerhouse if you believe the previews. Like this could be this year's Wukong, a game that's been in development a long time. Looks almost too good to be true, but it's the real deal. The action looks silky smooth and hard hitting. The locations we've been seeing, pretty traditional looking, the sorts of places we come to expect from a game like this. But the textures look so high quality and the art design is majorly on point. The most spectacular stuff is the battles. We've seen solid looking animation work that suggests some highly responsive action. The game seems to be operating at a really high level in every regard. Could be a lot of smoke and mirrors, but the impressions make it look like Phantom Blade Zero is the real deal, and we look forward to the launch later in the year. And number 2 is The Witcher 4. We may not know much about CD Projekt Red's next big project, but we do know it's going to look insane if anything about their Unreal Engine 5 tech demo tells us happens to be true, and I can't imagine it's not. It's not meant as a gameplay demonstration, so it's unclear if it is actual gameplay or we should take it as what the gameplay will look like, but it does appear to be in-engine, and that's kind of all I need to know to throw it on this kind of a list. Witcher 3 is a game that felt like it was from the future, and while this one doesn't appear to be that much of a huge leap forward in technology, it's still undeniably good looking. It's got the studio's usual expressive character models and large active crowds in places that manage to feel really fantastical but down to earth at the same time. And then, of course, at number 1, it's Grand Theft Auto 6. Duh. Doy. Durr. Like I was gonna put something else here. Rockstar's return to the world of GTA looks both achievable but impossible at the same time. In more intimate character-focused moments, it looks like a game from 2026, but when they show huge crowd shots of the zoomed-out shots of cities and locations, it starts to feel like there's some kind of frickin' black magic going on here. No other game can do open-world scale scale like Rockstar does. With these games, you see stuff fade out or become significantly less detailed within view. And while Rockstar games, I guess, do that, they maintain a level of fidelity that looks a lot more realistic. I don't think they do it in as visible a way, as close. I don't know, they optimize well, that's for sure. Red Dead 2 is unbelievable vistas that look like some of the most detailed city environments in, ever. If the trailer for GTA 6 is at all even kind of an example of what the final game will look like, it's possible this game will surpass even Red Dead. They went crazy with the little details on that one, and GTA 6 might take all of Rockstar's most obsessive perfectionist qualities as far as they can go. The character models, on the other hand, look good, don't get me wrong, but you're not mistaking them for real people, which is almost kind of reassuring that not everything looks so mind-blowingly good that it's impossible to tell from like a photograph. It kind of tells us that they're really showing us the game rather than like a bunch of bullshit. Some of it probably is still, but either way, GTA 6 is going to look incredible. I do have 2 bonus games for you. First, Mudang 2 Hearts. This absurd-looking Korean sci-fi thriller has a remarkable-looking trailer. Graphically, it's got so much going on, tons of different environments, intense action, wild effects, just plain crazy crap going on. Looks properly insane. Certainly enough for a list like this. The only problem is I have no idea if this is coming out. The game still has a Steam page and still lists the release date as 2026, but rumors are flying the game may have been canceled. The studio behind it have been radio quiet. Like, they suffered some pretty serious layoffs last year and their website shut down, so it's not looking great for this one, but also look at it. The other one I got is Out of Words. It's got very different sort of insane graphics going. A big chunk of it is built using traditional stop motion animation. Of course, there is other stuff at work here, but it's pretty crazy seeing a game built on top of stop motion, but also stop motion animation that looks this good. The art they've shown in trailers rivals studios like Aardman and Laika. Like, we're seeing major motion picture quality here for a video game. I love the look of this thing, and as an appreciator of stop motion and the crazy amount of effort that goes into making stuff like this, I had to mention it even though it's not normally what you'd think of for a game with insane graphics, but it's so unusual and high effort, I think it fits. What do you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, @FalconTheHero. Join the 1% Club. Get the exclusive Falcon Show episode every week. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.